Think horse racing is too complicated? Think again.
And they're off!
Every pro was a newbie once. Meet DRF Newbie, the mobile tool loaded with daily racing form data and the power of DRF AI.
What a shocker!
Get the insights you need fast so you can play smarter and feel more confident. DRF Newbie, horse racing made simple. Try it free today. Visit newbie.drf.com.
It's a great tool for all of the new horse players. Share it around with your friends. Anyone that you know is playing the races for the first time or is trying to learn those past performances. Hope you all are having a nice summer so far. We're now like amidst the summer racing. I mean, last weekend we had Monmouth with the Haskell rolling, but we know that every week right now we are going to have really strong action from Del Mar and Saratoga. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Ryan Anderson and Barry Spears, who joined me. We're going to preview the late pick 5 for Saturday at Del Mar. Ryan, how's everything going on your end? We saw your face show up right away that first day of the meet over at Del Mar. You're right there on the simulcast working with Kurt Hoover. How's it been that first week at Del Mar?
Oh, it's been awesome. I love that. I love that simulcast. I was happy I got to do opening day this year. But, I mean, we were talking on the pre-show, Gino, these cards at Del Mar to start the meet are just phenomenal. I mean, it is – every time Kurt and I sit down at the desk before we go on, we're like, well, this card was, impossible to get through and impossible to have, really, really strong opinions. Obviously, opening day, I think there was only one winning favorite, which led to a pick 6 carryover. And that only got hit by, I want to say, a couple tickets that next day. And Sunday did carry, me, because
Thursday
tomorrow. There's a carryover tomorrow. So, no, it's been phenomenal so far. And obviously really busy weekend too with me, working for Doug and working for Del Mar. So it's just staying busy, but enjoying Del Mar all the time.
Barry, my man, what's nice about when Del Mar starts, there's been a little bit of time off in Southern California. So there's a lot of horses and a lot of connections that are just waiting and ready to run, especially in the grass races and in the higher level races. Because really the only action out here is Los Al for a few weeks. That's a lot of the lower level horses. So these first couple weeks, the Saturdays and the Sundays, like these late sequences, big fields, awesome betting opportunities, about as good as you're going to find.
Yeah, that little respite that they have when they go to Los Al does give a lot of the higher quality, more expensive thoroughbreds a little bit of a break going into Del Mar. And you'll see a lot of the crafty trainers will try to put one over in these first few weeks. And that's where you get these big prices and carryos. And it's a beautiful thing, honestly.
So we'll be diving into the late pick 5 sequence. A couple things to point out all throughout the Del Mar meet. Anything that you need. Clocker reports, past performances, DRF picks every single day. Don't forget about the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel where we're going over previews, horse by horse previews of all the big stakes races. Just did one of the grade 1 Bing Crosby that we're going to look at earlier today with myself and Ashley Mayu. So make sure to check out the YouTube there as well. You get those Saratoga packages. Now they're weekly options, so you can save every single week. And now that we've showed our mugs, fellas, we can kick back and get the sweatpants on now. So I'll just pull up full screen PPs here. And if you're a contest player, Barry, you and I and Noah Maher are going to take a little preview at the Fun in the Sun contest that's coming up this weekend. I love this tournament because it's really simple format. $10 win bets on the last 5 races from Saratoga, the first 5 from Del Mar, and you just play it right from your Express Bet account. So it just stays right in there. It's very easy. And every time you win, the money's right there. You see where you stack up. If you make it to the top 5, then you get to the final table at the end of the meet where you get to play for even bigger money. So it's not expensive. It only costs like $125 to enter. Right now, if you're a contest player at Express Bet, you got to check out all of these different options. Del Mar feeders. I mean, they've got stuff at Mountaineer right now, and they've got stuff at the Meadows, Barry, for the harness folks out there.
There you go.
I know, contests all over. Ryan, I believe the first time you and I met each other in person was at the NHC there, and your good buddy Jackson is doing the contest work over for Naira Bet. So it's so nice when there are the affordable options, because it's tough to put up 1,000, sometimes 500, 5,000 for some of the bigger tournaments. It's a lot easier for guys like us to play in a 40 or an 80 or $100 feeder and then get qualified.
100%. Yeah, the affordability for the tournaments matters a lot. Just the different variety. So you have people that can play tournaments from different entry points. It goes a long way. Yeah, Jackson running the contest out in New York. They're in good hands. They've always been in good hands out of Del Mar, and just I love seeing more tournaments become available on every platform. It's good for the sport.
It's cool because then whatever your local track is, you can take a shot there. They have Canterbury options right now. They have Assiniboia Downs options right now. You could literally line yourself up. So like every night of the week, you're playing in like a $40 or like an $80 or just something really, really affordable, getting some action and maybe winning your way into an NHC spot or a PWC BC spot or getting to play in one of those big tourneys. Okay, got all the housekeeping out of the way. Let's dive into this late pick 5 sequence for Saturday. We're going to start things out with a Calbred race going a mile on the turf course. And what's a little bit tricky about this race, Barry, I'll start with you here, is that there's a couple horses in here that are going to take money. The Known Idea and Double Jab. They're both going to be horses that get support in here, but neither of them are really successful at this trip going a mile on the turf. They're both a little bit better sprinting. They both kind of have speed, and they might kind of set it up for other horses from off the pace. But just from kind of a class standpoint, when you're looking at speed figures, they do look like some of the stronger horses. They're older horses, and they'll be facing some 3-year-olds who are facing older. So it's kind of a fun puzzle in this race because the horses on paper that look like maybe the most likely winners based on speed figures and class, they're not necessarily proven at the distance.
Yeah. Known Idea, who does look good on paper, honestly, because their turf races have been better than their dirt races for sure. Yep. And that mile race back at Del Mar last year in November was pretty good and stacks up well against these. But I'm not really fond of the rail draw, the layoff from April to now. It might affect this horse, and a horse like Algonquin Summer is a horse that kind of intrigues me a little bit. Because they've been running at a higher level, and especially that last race where they were out wide and still won at a higher level drops into this one and should get a decent trip off the speed. There's enough of it in here to make this a pretty fair pace. And I think, Hector Berrios has been riding lights out there for quite a while. And I don't expect that not to continue. He hooks up with Paula Capestro. They've hooked up 3 times and they've won, I think, once or twice. And I think this one is probably a lot liver than maybe what the morning line maker may think. We don't have the morning line yet, but
no, we're doing this early on Wednesday evening, so we have no odds.
But I think you're right. Double Jab and Known Idea will probably take a lot of money. If this one's third choice, I'd like that, and even higher is even better.
The way that the race plays out, and we're kind of mapping it out, Algonquin Summer has been kind of close up in the last 2, but I think will be more like how Timeform US has it here on the projector, like more mid-pack in this race, because there are 3 or 4 horses that just look naturally faster. And that might be a great place to be in here, sitting kind of mid-pack to the back, Ryan, because if we do get those 2 horses to go and kind of put a little pressure on each other, maybe it does set up for horses off the pace. So let's say we're starting the pick 5 here, Ryan. Who would be some of the horses you want to use in your pick 5 ticket here to get things started?
Yeah, Algonquin Summerberry made great points on that one, and that's certainly one I had up on my A line. I think anytime we see Hector Berrios, take the call for anyone on the grass, you should pay attention. And those last 2 were sensational, or were great rides, but the horse also showed a good bit of talent. And to beat Open Company, and now you're dropping down against what is easily a much better spot. I think there's a good chance that he repeats in here. Paula Capestro has taken money with this horse in both of the turf routes. I think that says something. I do think a little bit of that is because of the presence of Hector Berrios. So I landed on that one. The other one I went to was Beeble Brox with Wolfen Orantis and Mike Pipey. I think this is another one. We just talked briefly about the pace scenario, and I think both of these would benefit from a little pace up front. And I thought that recent state bred turf against optional 50s was very strong, closed really well. Both of the turf routes where this one has gotten some pace, he's closed, he's come with a nice kick. and he faced open two back and lost to a horse, Savage Warden, who scratched out of another allowance race this past weekend. But Prime Artist is a very good runner in his own right. So for me, Beeble Brox and Eloquent Summer are the two I need to kick off the late pick 5. And it also starts the $3 turf pick 3, which is a new one out at Del Mar. So I'd be using both of those in my tickets.
Beeble Brox is a horse who, man, I on May 8th, I did the Quigley's preview show. That's the seminar that you do there at Del Mar, Ryan. And I gave this horse out. And at the point that he wins at 12-1 in this small field, and he was the biggest price by far, I'm 4 for 4 on the pick 6. And it's like a carryover day. And then I'm like, oh, nice. Like you get a horse like that and you kind of feel like this is my day. And then I miss the next race. And then I end up going 5 out of 6 in the last one. And it was just like such a bad taste in your mouth after, like, you have a good horse, you bet him to win a little, like it all feels like it's coming together for you that day. But I completely agree with this form, the Beeble Brox and Eloquent Summer form. I just think both of them fit really well in this race. I think both of them might be even a little bit better and a little bit faster than that race might suggest. I mean, they defeated a horse named Start the Ride, who's solid. This is a nice horse for Dan Blacker. He came right back to win his next start, and then he was second in the Los Al Derby behind Sabino Canyon. So he's a really solid, honest, good type of measuring stick, especially for a race like this. So feels like they will get the type of trip in here, get the type of setup. One other that I want to mention who does have some ability is Stylish Acclaimed. This is a horse who I think could also get the type of trip we're talking about. I just don't think he's quite as fast as Known Idea, Barry, right, or as Double Jab. But if he sits the type of trip that he did when he was able to break his maiden in his second start, where he's sitting fourth, couple lengths off, or even last time out where he's kind of sitting second or third, he moves to the lead. Last time out, I think he may have just lost to a couple horses who are a little bit better or in a little bit better form. So this is one that I want to use in the pick 5 too, Barry.
Yeah, I'm with you there. His race back in February on Valentine's Day was pretty good.
Down the hill, right?
Came out of that race. Yeah, down the hill, which is a little tricky. And usually horses that go down the hill are akin to milers. And I think they just went too far last time on May 9th. And this horse kind of, did what he had to do. He went to the lead and just got passed late and ran really well. This is a better spot. The only caveat I have is the barn is not very they've been cold for a little bit. I know that they're 1 for 3 here at Del Mar, and they're getting top riders. So I think they have to merit some respect in this spot.
We got a couple from Ryan that he's going to be using in $3 pick 3 and late pick 5. Any final thoughts on this 7th race, Barry?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I would myself lean on those 3: Known Idea, Eloquent Summer, and probably Stylish Acclaimed. Beeble Brox is one I might want to wait for because I think the running style might not be ideal. Looking at how the races have been run so far at Del Mar, it appears you need to be probably
in striking range, right?
Right at the top of the stretch. And I'm not sure this horse can be there unless the pace just heats up so much where it falls apart. It doesn't look like that kind of race, but obviously you never know. And if you're getting a good price, he may be worth throwing into as well.
Beeble Brox, the horse we were just discussing, we all feel really good about the chances of Eloquent Summer. Barry will lean a little with Known Idea as well. Me and Ryan will go Beeble Brox, Eloquent Summer, and I'm also going to give big looks to Stylishly Acclaimed in here. The one I wasn't quite sure what to do with, and I'll probably be watching in just this particular situation, was Oracle of Paradise, who I do think there's some ability. And if you just look at the mile grass races, they're actually pretty solid. And he's another one who might be able to get the kind of trip that we're talking about, where he maybe doesn't have to be dead last. Maybe he could sit mid pack like he did when he broke his maiden. So if you're looking for others, or if this is a spread out kind of race for you, this would be another horse that I would recommend mentioning and throw into some of the exotics. So race 7 kicks off the late pick 5. Let's turn the page to race number 8. This one starts the late pick 4 sequence. Ryan, what's a little tricky about this one is you have a couple of these very lightly raced horses in here that we don't really know like how good they are or who they are quite yet. March of Time, for example, for trainer Bob Baffert, owned by Bregman Family Racing in Bueller. So if you're a baseball fan, that's Alex Bregman and Walker Bueller, Dodger World Series winner. I'll always have some love for Walker Bueller. Came in the bullpen, out of the bullpen to close things down and shut down those Yanks. And it was actually Del Mar Breeders' Cup. I remember being down there, like sitting around a bunch of Yankee fans, Walker Bueller coming into the game to close things out. So Ryan, I just want to mention him because like he's a horse you look at on paper and you go, yeah, he hasn't really done a whole lot wrong. He just has a couple of those big gaps and big layoffs. He won off like a 18-month layoff almost last time out. So super impressive there. He's one that's going to be kind of a horse to talk about. Indispensable has done some really good work at Del Mar. Both of his wins and a lot of his best races have been at Del Mar. And then you have a horse like McVeigh, who he has 2 wins. And his 2 wins, he has 95, 96 big buyers. He's looked really good. And basically everything other than those 2 wins is kind of head scratching. Like he's not very consistent, but if he's a 5-length winner, it really wouldn't shock you. I think those are some of the major players, some of the horses who are going to take a lot of support in here. Ryan, what are you thinking? Who are some of the horses on your radar?
Yeah, for me, you're on McVeigh. That's not a horse that I want any part of. To me, it looks like he's at his best when he's on the front. He hasn't proven
not really a passer
to me
either, much,
that
right?
he's not a big passer. I know he won his maiden race by passing, but that was a weak field, and
he made that early move. Like
exactly.
It was a weird type of race. Like, yeah.
Exactly. And so for me, McVeigh's not the type of horse I want. Now, March of Time, this is a horse that's bred top and bottom to be a winner. They've just had some issues keeping him at the races. He's a half the Bodemeister, a bunch of other winners too. I think it's 2 or 3 stake winners are in the family. And what was this? I think it must have been December of 2024 after he broke his maiden at Santa Anita. I was talking with one of the exercise riders, and everybody in that barn was always like, man, it's like riding Justify 2.0. They just could not keep him healthy at the racetrack, which was unfortunate because when he's shown up, he really hasn't done much wrong. And I think he finally got a start under his belt last time, going 5.5, which I don't think is ideal for the Bob Baffert barn, but he won that. He won it convincingly, as he should have. He was, 4 to 5 in that spot. But now he gets to stretch out around 2 turns, which I do think is where he's going to be at his best. He's working really well coming off of that last performance, that work over the Del Mar track. He seemed to handle it great. He seemed to really skip over it in the morning. So to me, I feel like March of Time is an absolute must use in those horizontals for me. I do think he can take a step up. The other one, though, I'm going to want is the proven router and indispensable for John Sadler. Joel Rosario going to be aboard. This one comes in off of a couple disappointing performances, but got a break, got a layoff. That was a pretty tough campaign he ran last year in 2025 when going in the Pacific Classic, and then went to the ACAC. Tumbarumba's a really good horse for what he does.
From Nisos to Nevada Beach to British Isles, even Westwood, who came back and won. Tumbarumba, fierceness, journalism, like those horses are just better than him.
They are just better, and when he's been able to sit off of a pace, and when he hasn't faced monsters, he has always, showed up for the most part. Maybe the one big pause, I guess, for me would be that his race off the layoff to start the season last year left a little bit more to be desired than I think I would have wanted, where he failed as the favorite that day. I don't think he's going to be the favorite in here. I think he's going to be 7-2 to 9-2, somewhere in there, because I do think one of the 2 Bafferts are going to take a lot of the play. I think March of Time is probably going to be your favorite, but I would still think that 9 to 5 is probably what you're going to get on March of Time in this race. This is a really competitive. This could be a listed stakes race. I would think. I mean, it is, the competition's top to bottom, but I do think they have to go early. Sadler has 2 in here. Baffert has 2 in here. They both have complementary pace styles to their other entrant. So I do think we see a fast pace early, and I think that sets it up for horses like Indispensable, March of Time.
Barry, we don't really see a lot of races like this in Southern California that are like non-stakes races that are optional claiming, allowance races, big fields like this with stakes quality horses looking for to find out how good they are. This is a race that you kind of see at Gulfstream or at Keeneland or, like one of the big meets like that. So it's fun to see a field like this that's basically stakes quality and a big field kind of looking to see how good they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of good horses in here, and with the right trip and circumstances, they a lot of them can win. I'm actually kind of surprised you guys don't like McVeigh, because I do. I don't think this horse has really run a bad race. If you take out the turf race on October 4th and the December 24th race in the slop, all the rest of them stack up very well. And I'll start with the September 1st race at Del Mar, going a mile, the same trip in the Shared Belief. Was fourth behind Muth, Indispensable, and Imagination. And at this point, I don't think this horse is the same horse that they are now. Once they went back into the Urton barn, I think this horse turned into a new animal. They ran like it the last 2 times, should get a nice trip here. But the back class on this horse should show in this race in particular, because I think they're going to get a setup. There should be a better than average speed up front. So like a horse like March of Time, I think is going to get out there and try to wing it. And there's going to be a bunch of horses lining up to test that one. So a horse like Firmus actually makes more sense to me of the 2 Bafferts. And I think this horse is probably on the way up. You know, those workouts, they look like they've been working together as well for a little bit here. But something's telling me that Firmus might like the trip a little bit better, especially off the pace. And there's really, this could go a lot of different directions. So I'm trying to kind of throw down field a little bit. But I do like McVeigh. Frosty Indulgence is the other one. Makes a lot of sense here, especially with the Ship and Win program. Those races were probably better than these, or better than this one. The last couple, that one at Keeneland and the one at Churchill, were probably better races than this one. And I think they get a nice spot. They figure to draw well and also get a good trip. The last 2 times they were a little bit far back, and I think that was just due to the competition. With the slight drop into this company, I think they're going to be a little bit more forward and get a better trip.
And Chris Davis has the rail horse who has a bunch of speed, so he'll go with that horse because that's what he wants to do, and that also helps the cases of a horse like Frosty Indulgence who wants a little pace or wants to make sure that nobody gets out and gets loose on the lead. I mean, there's a version of this race where you get maybe Mo running. I mean, Bartholdi used to be really, really quick too. It wouldn't be shocking if he's able to show some speed. Look at how fast some of those races that he exits are where he wasn't getting the lead, and maybe getting back to a mile he could. We talked about March of Time stretching out. Midnight Mammoth, he really does his best running on the lead. I'm not sure if like a flat mile, if he's quite as fast as everyone else, but he's not really going to come from way, way out of it. So yeah, there's definitely versions of this race.
Bartholdi was in front. Bartholdi was in front of Cornucopian back in March. So this horse has some serious speed. But this is a very, 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 very interesting race. I would say, in my estimation, I would either, and you're probably going to laugh at me, but I would either single McVeigh or spread.
Nice. Yeah. And but I think that's a good, like, whether or not you agree with liking McVeigh, that's the correct approach. That's the correct gambling approach. So I'm going to always agree with taking a stand with the horse you like. And if not, then you know what? Let's spread out a little bit and use a few of the horses that Barry mentioned. Ryan mentioned a few. I kind of with you both on a couple of them. Indispensable, definitely in the mix for me. I was enigma on McVeigh. Just not exactly sure who he is quite yet. This is a good spot for him from a class standpoint. He fits with this group. I don't want to take too short of a price on him. I'm just kind of curious how he gets bet. The one that didn't get mentioned all that much that I think I'm going to give one more shot to is The Last Straw. This is a Richard Mandela horse who we've actually seen with a big effort. Like, he broke his maiden with a 93 buyer, but he's kind of like March of Time. You see those, like, some gaps. You see a big layoff for a year. It sort of seemed like he's had a couple issues, but he doesn't have bad overall form. And he came back and won his second start on May the 10th. Then in the Triple Bend, he drew the rail. He just had a slow start, and that was it. I mean, he was like 5th. He just sort of ran around in a circle. I like him stretching out a little bit more. I think he'll naturally sit a little closer. He's going to go 3rd start of the form cycle. keep an eye on the Last Straw. If you're looking for another horse in this race, he's one that I'm definitely going to be using in pick 4s and pick 5s. Put a bow on this one for us. Ryan, any final thoughts here?
Yeah, it's we all went different directions, and I think that kind of shows how competitive this race is. It's gonna really come down to what horse gets the best trip in here. And I know that's not, breaking news, but there's a bunch that could sit that great trip in a race like this, where I do expect a few to line up on the front end. There's going to be a few in that good kind of garden spot, and then there's going to be a few that are too far out of it. It's going to be a fun race, and hopefully one of us are right. We covered 90% of the field, I think.
And like, there are a lot of races where we look at them and go, you know what, this horse is going to be pretty tough, right? They may be like really tough no matter what, or they're probably going to get the lead, or there's not other speed. This race does look like a bunch of different things can happen. And even for the horses that could be short prices, they are not that trustworthy. Like McVeigh could win or run last. March of Time could be right there or could not. We know he's got a lot of physical issues through the years. Like some of these horses, if they just were not even firing, it wouldn't be all that big of a shot. That's why they're in this race and not in a graded stakes race somewhere else. So that's race number 8, second leg of the pick 5 sequence. Let's move along to the Daisy Cutter. 5 furlongs on the turf. We've got fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Could be flying early in this one. We have Saratoga Special from the inside, who's coming over from Churchill, but was out here in Southern California before for trainer Richard Baltus and has a little bit of speed. It's cutting back. You've got Bits Tiger Magic, who's really, really quick. Tahini, very fast. Won in a race where I will mention, because I liked her last time a little, on paper, there was no speed that day. So this race does look a little bit different, and she's probably going to have to deal with, win or lose, a little more speed. You have a couple tricky reed horses like Princessa Moche and Amarita. They both ran in the misdirection. They both ran 4th and 6th. Neither one of them would be a shock in here, cutting back to 5 furlongs. They're kind of live on paper, but they just didn't run all that well last time out. Lee's Baby Girl is in good form, but steps up, faces tougher in here. And then you've got I'm About to Go and Koecha. They ran in the race behind Tahini Can't Sleep. They didn't really get the setups that day. Maybe Koecha, second time for D'Amato, second off the bench, could step forward. And I'm About to Go is kind of a closer. If she gets the trip, she'll come running, but she does sort of need that trip. Barry, let's start with you here. Who's on your radar in the Daisy Cutter?
Yeah, this race is another one. It's a doozy, as I say it quite a bit, but it's really tough because this pace scenario seems like there might be all out up front, a lot of these horses. And you have a horse like Amarita, who last time ran into Queen Maxima and Spirited Boss, who they were never beating. Although they came close to beating Spirited Boss and beat Queen Maxima in the Monrovia, but I think that was a little bit of a fluke. I don't really think they were that good. I think they caught Queen Maxima on a day in a distance that really isn't her best and got beat. That was a really strange race because Spirited Boss kind of got out there.
Ran
them
Queen
off their
Maxima.
feet.
Barry had that issue that day where she had to like go all the way down the hill and then back up. And there was like they were even saying because they had new protocols at the gate for the down the hill races. So yeah, you're right. You kind of sniffed it out. It was just not a normal Queen Maxima race that day.
Yeah, and you can see that when they went in the misdirection. But this horse's flat six furlong race was pretty good in the Wishing Well, even though they got beat by Saratoga Special that day and Antifona. I thought that race was a lot better than it looked. Then they run into Spirited Boss and Queen Maxima twice, get away from those. There's a nice work tab here going back to June. I think this horse is going to be ready to go. Whether they win or not is another story. But if the price is right, I do like that one. The other one is the outside Koecha.
Yeah.
This horse ran up to a nice horse in Civetta twice, beat her once at Keeneland going 5.5, then lost to this horse at Churchill going 5.5. And Justin Queso and Me Governor were in front of that horse as well, who are really nice horses. Then they ran up to Moonspun, who after that race won 3 out of 4.
Yep.
Faced Tahini last time, and I think they may have needed that race. This is the one. right here. I do like this horse quite a bit. I'm not really fond of the outside post, but I think this horse can make her own trip. I think Hector Bear is going to get a nice stalking spot because they're fast enough and there's enough speed. Like they can attach themselves a little bit to Lee's Baby Girl and kind of get position. And that's usually what a guy like Barrios does, and he does it quite often, is latch on to other horses and get good position and then kind of go around those and take over. I'm envisioning that kind of trip. Whether he gets it or not is another story, but there's certainly going to be enough speed for him to close into.
The race we're watching right here, Coecha, is the number 6. And I would love this exact kind of trip that you're talking about right here. Like just sitting kind of right. This one, the difference will be, I just feel like there's a little more speed in this race than Tahini clearing the field and getting a loose lead. As we pointed out, Saratoga Special, Bits Tiger Magic, both want to push the pace a little bit. Lee's Baby Girl can be right there pushing it as well. And then it wouldn't even shock to see them try to really go with a horse like Princessa Moche on the cutback, who, you know, they know has that kind of speed they can use. So I'm right there with you. Coecha is absolutely going to be in the mix for me. I've got the 10 in all my late multi-exotics. You mentioned Amarita and Princessa Moche. I think they're both going to be in the mix for me. I'll hand the baton over to you, Ryan. Who are some of the horses you're looking at in this 5 furlong turf dash?
Yeah, I can't say that we align super well, I guess, but that's all right. I like Lee's Baby Girl in here. She's big for a filly. I mean, she is going to tower over a lot of this field. As I remember seeing him go in the post parade last year when she won here. I mean, she looked massive compared to the rest of this group, but she handled the 5 furlong distance really well from the rail that day. She gets a bit of a better break here. She ran really well, I thought, going down the hill in the John Harris behind Innovative. And to me, that showed that she passed that like off Lasix test, which you like to see. She ran her race. She ran really well. She just got beat by a better horse on the day, and she was 26. A little over 26-1 that day. And she's run really well earlier in her career as well. And I think this 5 furlong distance at Del Mar is just right up her alley. She's 3 for 4 in the exacta. She's 2 for 2 in the exacta at the distance. Sorry, 3 for 4 at the track, and 2 for 2 in the exacta at the distance. And yeah, to me, she's a 5 furlong horse, and Kazushi's going to be able to just kind of feel out the break. She normally doesn't have much issues getting out of there. There does look to be a good bit of speed, but as you've seen in each of her last 2, she's been able to relax off the pace when it's hot, and she's still come with that nice finish to her. I especially like the race leading into this, and then you get Carla third off the layoff, where this 4-year-old seems to be in her best vein of form right now, coming off of 2 of her highest speed figures that she's ever produced. She's back at her course. She's back at her track and her distance. I think she gets a really big upgrade in here because I think Kazushi's also one of those jockeys where he's young. He's like 24 or something. He's going to take a chance if he sees it. He's not going to hesitate if he sees something open down at the rail, or if he can split horses and make that move. And I'm not saying anybody else is necessarily scared to do that, but I know from watching Kazushi ride, he is not afraid to kind of make those moves and get that win. He's still hungry. And then the other guy I want to go to, or the other horse, is going to be down on the rail, Saratoga Special, who I think is the class of the field. That debut race stateside in the Wishing Well was really strong. I mean, Gratefully is a very, very good horse. Yeah, Baltus thought high enough of her to ship her right out to Keeneland. You lose to a horse in our time where, Saratoga Special was up on the pace that day and drawn post 11. That's pretty much all you could do. I can't really fault her for that. Then they tried to stretch her out, go 2 turns. She set the pace for about 3/4 of that race and just kind of faded. Lost a bracelet that day. Fantastical. She's not a router. I think that much is clear. I think getting back to 5 furlongs, I think it's going to end up being her distance. That's what she ran overseas when she was keeping really good company, like Bucanera Fuerte, Rumstar, Star of Memas. Those are all really good horses that she ran against overseas. And I think she's going to refine that form now back at 5 furlongs. So again, I'm just going to be using 2. I'm just going to be using Saratoga Special, Lee's Baby Girl. The only other kind of fuzzy ones are the ones you guys mentioned in Amarita and Princessa Moche, where you really don't know what to do with them because they kind of had that muddied up form. They have blue lines all over from the Timeform US Pace Projector, where you just really don't know if they've actually gotten the race that they want to get and how they're going to run at 5 furlongs. It's going to be a test for both of them. I would probably consider tossing them on just because I think that they're both pretty talented, and I think with their A efforts, they can take this. So I'd be primarily with the Saratoga Special, Lee's Baby Girl, but I might toss in a couple of those coming out of the Misdirection as well.
What's nice about the last two that you mentioned, they have enough of the like natural speed to stay in striking range, but they both could be finishing at this trip too. So like I could see them sitting a little bit off the pace and finishing, being up in the mix early on. This is just a challenging, competitive, fun race. I would agree that just kind of based on being like the shipper, the one is probably going to take some support in here. But then after that, I mean, you told me any of these horses were particular, like they're all going to be kind of similar prices. I don't know who's going to be an overwhelming favorite or difference in prices from the rest of the field here. Just a great like late pick 4, late pick 5 type of race, because we went through so many horses in here again that we made legitimate cases for, that we feel like could offer you nice value in here. We'll see what the prices end up being. That's race number 9. That's the Daisy Cutter. And oh, hey, wait, we turn the page to a grade 1 dirt sprint going 6 furlongs. That is no picnic here either. And, you know, there's a couple horses that you can kind of start with on the top tier, like Cornucopian, who's been in really good form. He's now a multiple graded stakes winner. He's won 3 of his last 4. But this is certainly tougher than the group that he just faced in the Aristides, where he beat Roll On Big Joe and Gold Sweep. So he's going to have to be just as good as he was last time out when he earned a career best 103 Beyer speed figure. You've got Dr. Venkman, who actually ran in the Breeders' Cup and was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup sprint. He loves Del Mar. All 4 of his career wins have been at Del Mar. He has wins at 6.5, 7, 7, and a mile and a 16th. So the 6 furlongs might be a little bit short for him. Probably could say the same thing for Stronghold. Maybe the distance is a tad short, but man, this is another cool horse that you kind of forget about how good he is, because he hasn't run quite as much the last few years. He only has 2 races this year and 2 races last year, but he's only been out of the exacta twice in the 14 starts in his career. And those races were the Kentucky Derby and the Pegasus. Everything else has been a top 2 finish for him, and he's a grade 1 winner. So Barry, this is a fun group. Again, like if you say you liked Cornucopian or you thought he was the horse to beat, I wouldn't disagree with you. But if you told me you wanted to make a case for any one of 5 or 6 others in here, I would be completely fine with that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the latter here. Cornucopian to me is a bit of an enigma. The horse runs well, but I tend to think that this horse is really like one sneeze away from being a runoff, and just expending all that energy early and not having enough for the finish. There's a lot of speed in here. Maximum Bourbon is going to be stepping on the gas. Heads up from with that inside horse.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is going to be tough for Cornucopian in this spot. Now, obviously,
Madhouse can fly too. Correct. From the outside,
and,
he's
and
really
kind of likes the track out there a little bit. Even though he looked pretty good Breeders' Cup last year,
leading into
he was just overmatched
and stuff. Yeah, he was in too tough, but he was good, training well and stuff in the mornings.
Yeah, and then you see what happened after that race. He comes back off that layoff in March and runs 2 pretty good races back to back. Takes a grade 3, but Listen Up Chance is one that I think is on the improve.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm going here too. Oh yeah,
should get a way better trip. Just the fact that this horse really was hanging in there with Bookham Dano and Ben Tornado tells me a lot about this horse's talent. And
so as you're talking, Barry, he's the 4 for anyone that wants to watch the race along with us. But keep going.
Yeah, I just think that he ran a really, really, really good race here. And I think he can springboard off of this into something else. And this is a great spot for him because he's going to get a great trip. The other horse is Venkman, who has gotten into some bad luck. Really, really bad luck. I'd say the last 3 trips. And then they didn't really, I don't believe, like the slop last time. So if you can project that this horse runs this typical race they do out there in Del Mar, this horse has to be one of the contenders, especially with getting Rispoli back. I think things are lining up, and maybe he can switch that bad luck streak off. And I don't gather he's going to be bet too heavily here either.
No,
and then Stronghold
all that much either.
And then Stronghold is another one that's on my radar. He's definitely been keeping the best company out of anybody. But he certainly likes to finish second more than he likes to win. And that's a little bit concerning in this race because you're going to have horses finishing. But I didn't weigh that as heavily because of the fact he's been keeping better company than most of these horses. But that one's very interesting, but I think he might get bet. So that was kind of my seahorse in this spot.
Listen Up Chance, Ryan, is a horse who I actually have as my top selection. I'm looking at his last 3 races on the dirt. They're awesome. And the horses that beat him were Mana Rose coming off a couple-month break, who's a 12-time winning Calbred, who's one of the best Calbreds in training right now and a really, really nice horse. And then at the next race, he was behind Cornucopian in a race where he did not run all that poorly at all, and that was going 7 furlongs, tried the turf, and then in the True North, we were just watching that race. He broke slow. He has to rush up. He's right there in the mix late. He's got the lead in the stretch, and then he loses to Bookham Dano and Ben Tornado, probably the 2 best sprinters of the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Yes,
I completely agree. I mean, he ran such a good race last time out. If that race was 6 furlongs, he's the winner of the True North.
Yeah.
And this race is at 6 furlongs, which I love. He first of all gave a fantastic ride, gave exactly the ride that this horse needed to have last time. Amicia has ridden this horse before once in the Grade 3 San Carlos, and that was a good ride. You lost to Cornucopian that day, who, in my opinion, has sat a couple of softer, clean trips that I don't think he's going to get here.
Yep.
When he won the Aristides, he was pushing the pace off of Madhouse that day.
Mm-hmm.
Easy, in the clear under Frawley and Pratt. Absolutely nothing, stood in his way. He was never going to lose that race. In the San Carlos, kind of the same thing. He was wide that day. He was kept in the clear. The only one where it was a little unique, where he wasn't outside, was in that optional claiming event where he came off the layoff. But I think you could have driven a couple semi-trucks through the rail opening that day.
Oh, yeah.
For him to win. I had red flag, and he said no chance. As soon as I saw that they fanned 8 wide off the turn, it was just like, okay, cool. They handed the race to Cornucopian. So he's never really faced a whole lot of adversity in his dominant performances. Then obviously,
Barry, you were kind of hinting on that, right? Too. Like, I kind of feel that way about him, almost like he's kind of a bully. Like, he can kind of beat up on the horses that he's better than and really lay it on and pour it on. But I wonder if he gets punched, like, is he going to respond?
Like, he got punched in the Churchill Downs and he didn't really respond. Now, that was a much better field.
Yeah.
A better field. I don't even know about much better. T.O. Elvis was. And Knightsbridge was no show and whatever. But, I mean, he faced other bullies in there. He didn't really respond the way that you thought. Meanwhile, Listen Up Chance faced the 2 best sprinters in the country on the dirt in Bookham Dano and Ben Tornado, and fought them all the way to the wire, despite breaking slow, despite both of those in Ben Tornado and Bookham Dano having, some slightly better trips. This horse is back on his home turf. This has been the goal since before the True North. I'm singling this horse and I'm moving on. Not even with some bias for working for Team O'Neill.
No.
I think that this horse is the true 6 furlong specialist in here. I respect Stronghold. I would anticipate him to finish second because he always shows up and he always runs his race. Madhouse, I think he's 5 furlongs somewhere because he is a speedball that just kind of runs out of gas a little bit late. But he's going to push the pace. I think some of the others in here, while maybe that they would fit going 6 furlongs on a different track, I think Del Mar is pretty unique. You need to be up close, and I think the one that's going to sit and be in the best spot is going to be Listen Up Chance. And I think, for all those reasons, I got a single them, and I got to write it out. And if they win, it's going to be a party in the winner's circle with the Run Fast Racing guys. I can promise you that.
Oh my gosh. The Run Fast Racing folks, the Doug O'Neill folks, great friends. They're all going to be in there partying on a Saturday at Del Mar, like wherever if just find that entourage and just try to go behind them. You'll get a free drink somewhere. No doubt about it. Someone will hand you a bottle or a glass of champagne if this horse wins, but we all are kind of like looking at the trip, right? And we're looking at the trip he could get. And there's going to be a couple other horses that get bet. So we're not talking about singling a horse who's going to get favored or anything like that. But in a really difficult sequence, you got to pick and choose your spots to find someone to lean on, right, Barry? You pointed out in a couple races earlier, that might be a spot where you single, but you got to have a spot where you shorten up somewhere. For Ryan, it's going to be that one. We both feel really strong about the chances of Listen Up Chance as well. Give us any other thoughts you have on this one, Barry.
I totally agree. You know, Ryan actually explained it a lot better than I did about Cornucopian and how shaky he is in this spot. I'm total agreement. That's really where you have to start with this race, I think, because of the fact that it's a Baffert horse and they're going to take a lot of money regardless. This horse is quote unquote famous, so
yeah,
you would expect this horse to be odds on, but doesn't have that kind of winning punch. You know, back in the day, I used to say this about Frosted. Cornucopian is a bum slayer. They just slay they beat the horses they're supposed to beat, but anybody better than that they can't. And just the fact that, you know, the way this horse arrived on the scene is a little crazy too. You know,
he had the rep,
ran the hole in the wind 2 times at Oaklawn and then just switched it off. Right. So he's really a mystery for me, especially at a short price. I can't endorse him too heavily in this spot, if even at all. But I agree with a lot of what everybody has been saying. There certainly are a lot of alternatives here. You know, Maximum Bourbon is another one that is really, really a question mark here, because I don't believe that horse needs the lead in order to win. And the Ario is very good at working out trips at times. So we'll see what he does, because if this horse breaks well, and it's going to be hard for him to kind of make this race a little strange, to say the least.
Because if they are able to get the trip coming off those last couple races, they're not bad. With the Built form is good. Built came back out of that race and ran really well. And I got a little flashback of Rocky 3, where his trainer Mick was telling, they was bums, Rock. They was bums. And he was telling them about all the setups that he had for the fights there. What? They was bums, Rock. I see 3 of them. Mick, hit the one in the middle, Rock. So that was Barry talking a little bit about Cornucopian. And we'll see, right? Like, because
crazy fast.
The way that you were both describing it, when you have a horse that's got this reputation, they win early, they're so impressive, then for a long time, they're always going to be bet a little bit more than they should. They're always going to be bet a little bit over bet. They're always going to be a little bit undervalued. So maybe this will be another spot where we can try to take a chance against Cornucopian in the grade 1, Bing Crosby. Let's close things out, Ryan, after we get Listen Up Chance home in the Bing Crosby. We're alive, moving into race number 11. We're going to try to close out the Saturday card, going 1 mile and 16th on the turf course. It's a first level allowance, optional claimers in here. Who are some of the horses that you would need in that closing leg when you're alive here and you feel comfortable having how many, and how deep do you want to be?
Yeah, look, I mean, we went over the first 4 legs of the sequence, and I think I was kind of 2 by 2 by 2.
Short in a lot of them. Yeah.
Short in all those. In my pick 5, I'm buying this race. I have no idea who is going to show up and who's not. This race, top to bottom, I was going through and handicapping, and I could make a case for every single one of them. You know, I ultimately ended with my top pick being Betty Davis Eyes for Neil Drysdale, which can't remember the last time I picked a Drysdale horse on top, but I felt like the debut showed a lot more. Juan Hernandez being aboard for Neil Drysdale isn't something you see a whole lot of. So the fact that they teamed up, they went down the hill, that's a good race to kind of get some fitness into a horse off a layoff without getting them, too far out of contention. Nonetheless, this horse dropped to dead last. And made a good run, though, closing behind Marion Cross, and now has had a little bit of time, now stretching out to the mile. I do think that's going to fit this horse really well. So the fact that JJ was on for the debut, I'm not too dissuaded by the fact that he hops off here. He had other obligations, but you get Joel Rosario. This is a horse that for a patient trainer can certainly, I think, take a step up. So that was one I gave a close look to, one I would use in my turf pick 3s for sure, because I'm not going to buy the race in there. Another one I certainly want to use is down towards the inside, and Lady in Paris for Phil D'Amato. I felt like that 1.125 race, first time overseas, I don't know that race was a prep, so to speak, but certainly looked like the horse could benefit from having that race under her belt now. So to me, those two are going to be my top picks in here. But again, I think for pick 5 sequences, I'm going to try and buy the race because you could make a case for any of them. There's a lot that are doing the second off the layoff or sprint to route angle, and you really just don't know who's going to show up. I don't think the favorite in here should be under 5-2, in my opinion. It might even be, in the 3-1 range. It's a difficult race to end things off.
And what's nice is Ryan kind of mapped out the way he was going to set it up as we went through the sequence. And he was getting pretty short in each race, not really ever using more than 2 or 3. Talked about a horse that he could single and lean on last time. So, Barry, yeah, we're going to hear a lot of screams if Listen Up Chance wins that Bing Crosby on Saturday from the winner's circle. Some of the loudest might be coming from Ryan there because then he can kick back, put his feet up in this last race and hope that he can get the biggest price home. Who are some of the horses that you need on the ticket, Barry? I think we there we go.
The first one is Lady in Paris. Can you hear me?
Now we got you. Yeah,
we
got you.
You're good. Yep, now we're good.
Yeah, StreamYard kicked me out. But yeah, Lady in Paris is one I like quite a bit in here. This horse was keeping pretty decent company overseas. I think that last race was kind of like a setup, and I think this is the one they want to win and then springboard into maybe a stake at the end of the meet. And the other is the outside horse, Yoga Master. Another one that was keeping good company overseas, has some wins going long. They tried this horse going short and down the hill a couple of times, but I don't think that's really this horse's bag. I think stretching out steady stream.
Ryan, we're losing you a little bit.
The radar a little.
Okay,
bit.
It's cutting in and out.
Yeah, I caught you back at the end. We were because I was given a little tech difficulty too with StreamYard on our layouts here too. So Barry, repeat us one more time. Who are your kind of go through your top horses here again in the last? We're losing Barry a little bit there too here. So I don't know.
Tech's only good when it works.
I was gonna say, right? That's what's so fun about how it goes now. Yeah. So as we're finishing up here, Ryan, I was kind of the 2 horses that you mentioned in Betty Davis Eyes and in Lady in Paris, both in the mix for me. I kind of wanted to maybe get to a group of 4 that I think I can have. Here's Barry back again with us. Barry, everything good on your end, my friend? Can you hear us now? There we go. We're going back and forth. I know we were struggling just to get through this last minute or so.
Yeah, it keeps kicking me out like a.
Give us a quick run through of your top 4 here. Okay, folks. Well, that's where we started to struggle towards the end. Hopefully we can get alive in the into this last race where things are going to be very, very challenging. Ryan, as we were pointing out, the early part of the Del Mar meet, these cards have been incredible. These pick 5s, the sequences overall, just fantastic. Give us some final thoughts on Saturday, the Bing Crosby. It seems like it's going to really all come down to Listen Up Chance for you, right?
Oh yeah, that's the horse that my whole day is going to be built around, and I have no issue with that. On top of me thinking that horse absolutely has the best chance to win, is coming into this the best way. Obviously, Team O'Neill for the Run Fast Racing guys. That would be great to see them in the winner's circle after a grade 1. For a private purchase out of a maiden $20,000 to go into a grade 1 and hopefully take that thing down. That's what makes racing great. So yeah, that's obviously what I'm looking forward to most. There's a pick 6 carryover Thursday at Del Mar, about $63,000 and change. There's a very good chance, in my opinion, that thing double carries into Friday. That sequence tomorrow is impossible. Good luck if you hit that. I'm going to play it because I have to. And, it's Del Mar, and there's only so many of these, and they have the traditional pick six, but it is not an easy sequence. So a fantastic weekend 2 of racing out at Del Mar.
Barry said that the 2 that he needs in the last, Yoga Master and Lady in Paris. And those are 2 of my 4. So if you want to kind of take a couple horses that we're all going to be using in the last race, definitely the 3, Lady in Paris, Betty Davis Eyes, me and Ryan both have, and Yoga Master I used last time out. Race didn't really shape up all that well. She's better than that. Her 2 starts back race and her first race in the U.S. were very good. And I think Barry and I actually talked about her a couple different times. So she's going to be in the mix there as well. 3, 10, 9, 8 were the horses I wanted to try to get alive to with Take Another Card, the one that we didn't quite mention yet. So a lot of ground to cover on these big cards. Sorry about the little technical difficulties at the end. We were having a little trouble with our recording platform here, StreamYard, but we got you all the great information. And we want to remind all of you that you can always head to shop.drf.com, get those Del Mar handicapping tools, the past performances, the DRF picks, and the clocker reports every racing day. You're going to see Ryan on the simulcast, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, Ryan? Is that right?
Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific.
And Barry Spears, you can check him out. Horse Racing Happy Hour with Louis Rabeau. He does a lot of great stuff here in Southern California racing, and they cover those quite often. I think Barry's on ESPN Louisville this weekend, also on Friday, all over the place. So check him out at Urban Handicapper, and make sure to go to the Daily Racing Forum YouTube for all the race previews and all the help that you need. That's going to do it for Saturday at Del Mar, Saturday late pick 5. We will have a show later in the week where Barry joins me with Noah Maher, and we take a look at that Fun in the Sun contest for Saturday over at Express Bet. So good luck this weekend, wherever you're playing, however you're playing. We wish you the best of luck.
Think horse racing is too complicated? Think again.
And they're off.
Every pro was a newbie once. Meet DRF Newbie, the mobile tool loaded with daily racing form data and the power of DRF AI.
What a shocker!
Get the insights you need fast so you can play smarter and feel more confident. DRF Newbie, horse racing made simple. Try it free today. Visit newbie